Tonight on CFTK-TV News, BC's recent event safety review has been revealed. Drivers on Vancouver's side streets will soon be forced to slow down, and a strange theft case took place in Richmond.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Baslett, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll see an event held in order to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Old Skeena Bridge. At the northwest end of the bridge at 1:30 p.m., both a ribbon-cutting ceremony as well as a parade of classic cars will be held as part of the celebration. The parade is set to make its way to Thornhill Landing on Queensway by Substation Road by 2 p.m., and refreshments are going to be there as well. The Northwest Regional Airport near Terrace recently put out numbers that make up their passenger statistics for the month of June 2025. And despite their month-by-month numbers typically increasing throughout this year, June sat at 22,776 passengers, which was a slight bit down from May's number of 22,895 people. But even with the slight dip, June still came in with having the second highest number of passengers for a single month in 2025 for the airport. In the days after the Lapu-Lapu Festival tragedy, the NDP government promised a review of event safety in our province. The results are now public and they're said to be underwhelming. CTV's Penny Daflos breaks down what is and isn't in the report.
After 11 people died and dozens were injured at the Lapu-Lapu Day Festival in East Vancouver, the Premier commissioned a review into the safety of community events.
Best practices that are applicable that can be used by community event organizers across the province to maximize safety.
That report is now public and confirmed while most events in British Columbia are safe, there are weaknesses. It makes 6 recommendations, including providing funding and training for smaller communities to do a more thorough job when it comes to safety and risk assessment.
We fully accept the intent of these recommendations. We're working closely with the partners out there with event planners, municipalities, different levels of government, how best to make them work, implement them into realities and practice.
They did not accept the recommendations. They said they accepted the intent of the recommendations. So one has to look at this and say, was it an exercise in futility? Was it just a knee-jerk political response to a crisis that we're facing right now?
There are templates that organizers can now use to do a more professional job, but the report specifically excludes discussion of the Lapu-Lapu Festival tragedy and the availability of mental health services.
It would have been great if the time and effort that was spent on this report was spent on the root cause, which is mental health.
The report authors applauded Vancouver's robust event planning system.
We review our security infrastructure all the time on an ongoing basis.
But point out with so many events around the province run and organized by volunteers, there has to be more support for them, especially as so-called hostile vehicle attacks are a growing threat around the world.
You can't plan on every single possibility, but you can actually take concrete steps to ensure that those events are going to be safer.
Coming up next, we'll hear from one of the survivors of the Lapu-Lapu attack. Welcome back. A Lapu-Lapu survivor who was also one of the event organizers said the recommendations are baby steps in the right direction, but she questions how easy it will be to obtain financial support for the province for increased security costs. CTV's Shannon Patterson has that story.
2.5 months after she was seriously injured at the Lapu-Lapu Festival, Christiane Watkins is getting back on her feet.
I can stand for a little bit longer, I can walk for a little bit longer, but my wheelchair is still close by me all the time because I do get tired.
Watkins was one of the organizers of Lapu-Lapu. She says there was no budget for paid trained security or concrete barriers.
It's just for community, by community. We don't have all the money in the world.
While she hopes the province follows through on the recommendation to give event organizers access to targeted grants, financial support, and cost-sharing programs to cover security.
It'd be very naive to believe that it would be just like a snap of the fingers. Be like, oh, we're having an event. Okay, here's all the money you need. Yeah. So it's time, it's forms, it's bureaucracy, it's red tape, it's everything. So I understand it's not going to be easy to apply for.
Another big cultural festival, Carnaval del Sol, is happening this weekend in Vancouver. In the wake of Lapu Lapu, the security budget this year ballooned to $30,000. So the possibility of a grant from the province?
That will be a huge plus for organizations. Like security has increased every year for extra things that the city has been wanted, and I think we should. But when we see the bills, they go a little bit higher as well of what we can afford. So that make a huge difference.
Watkins supports all the report's recommendations for improved event security, but she'd like more details on the path forward.
It's still quite broad and quite vague. So I think these are baby steps.
As she continues her recovery, Watkins worries how her 11-year-old son Knox will be impacted by the horrors he witnessed at the festival.
I am not really suffering from too much PTSD, but I believe it's because I didn't see anything. I literally just got hit and then I ended up on the ground and the only thing I saw was the sky.
Well, she still bears the scars of what happened that night. Will you be involved in Lapu Lapu next year?
100%. Yeah, no doubt. Always said I would be if they'd take me. Yeah, if they invite me, I'll be there.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Slowing down on side streets will soon be mandatory in Vancouver, as their city council has approved a recommendation to lower the speed limit on all residential streets to 30 kilometers an hour. And as CTV's Martin McMahon reports, that's not the only measure to create slower streets.
It's a unanimous decision from an at times divided city council, voting to drop the speed limit on what it calls minor streets to 30 kilometers per hour.
Getting hit by a car at 50 kilometers versus 30 kilometers, the stats are just overwhelmingly positive when if there's an accident at lower speeds.
The plan will be phased, starting with signs being put up in 25 neighborhoods.
We're a database administration and we look at the data and, we have a lot of different examples around the world where they slowed down the speed limit in residential neighborhoods. They become safer.
We asked people around City Hall what they thought about the lower speed limit for residential streets.
I feel like if it increases safety, it sounds like a good idea to me.
I think the people who are careful and really pay attention to where the cyclists are going to still be the same people, whether there's a law or not.
It depends if the driver is going to adhere to the actual law. I mean, like that's what they're supposed to do, but I mean, people are speeding all the time, right?
Council has also removed public consultation for speed humps, given the lack of pushback whenever they are proposed in a neighborhood.
Residents are still going to be informed when there's speed humps planned for their community. Usually we find residents are pretty happy to have speed humps because it stops people from running through their neighbourhoods at speed.
As for when these changes will kick in, the city says it needs to install signs first, which could take months. And those signs need to go up before any enforcement takes place. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
A tough hit has come the way for low-income parents after the province canceled a bonus payment for the BC Family Benefit last week. Now a number of family advocacy organizations are calling on the NDP to reinstate the bonus. CTV's Yasmin Gadod spoke with one parent who is struggling to make ends meet.
Megan de Jong has 2 children and is a single mother. She says without the bonus payment, she is forced to make tough decisions.
Little things like this may seem little to some people, but for someone like me, like I mentioned, it's a week full of groceries.
De Jong is one of many parents across the province who were eligible for the bonus that was put in place from July 1st of last year until the end of this June.
From where I'm sitting, things aren't getting better. They're getting a little harder. Especially when you're trying to juggle the kids. And they're kind of telling us that our struggles are being a little bit overlooked.
The now canceled payment provided as much as $713 annually to a low-income family with 2 children, including de Jong. This child and youth advocacy group is calling on the province to reinstate it.
Basically what they've done by withdrawing the bonus as of July 1st is they're going back in time, putting more, especially low-income families in deeper poverty, to rates that were set for 23-24.
In a statement to CTV News, the Ministry of Finance says the benefit was temporary, provided at a time when inflation and interest rates were especially high.
Nothing's changed. Food is still really expensive, rent is still too high, and costing them too much a percentage of their income. So they're not nothing happened. Inflation may have slowed down, but that hasn't affected their food costs or their real basic family expenses.
The province adds families across the province are still eligible for and receive the monthly BC family benefit. But De Jong says that's not enough.
A lot of the time it's like, whatever, it's not that much of a cut, but for people in my situation who count every penny, it is a big cut.
Yasmin Gandham, CTV News, Vancouver.
To a bizarre and rather brazen theft in Richmond, 2 thieves broke into a bake shop, making off with valuables, only to return for a few more minutes later. And as CTV's Sinjin Alexander reports, it was all caught on camera.
This is the door they used to come in, but rather than breaking in, they actually broke off the lockbox.
The alarm was tripped and blaring, yet surveillance video shows 2 intruders seemingly unfazed, heading straight to the till at Dan Go Cake Lab, grabbing iPads, cash, checking every nook and cranny for more.
And then for some bizarre reason, while they were opening the doors, they found birthday toppers and candles, and they decided they wanted that as well.
And apparently one of them has a sweet tooth, because on the way out couldn't resist a package of Chips Ahoy. Timestamps show this all unfolded very early Monday.
They have masks on, hoodies on. One of them has a cigarette in his mouth.
As if this brazen bakery break-in wasn't enough, it got even more bizarre. The thieves came back for more, only 40 minutes later. This time, much more relaxed, taking time to compare different types of chocolate.
Spends around a good minute reading his ingredient list, making sure which one he wants. I mean, there's dark chocolate, white chocolate, and he just chose the cocoa butter, which he can't really eat on its own.
They stroll to the back of the kitchen, to the staff area.
Opens all the lockers, sees which one has a nicer jacket, decides he wants that one olive green jacket.
It sounds to me like they were not in a rush.
No, they were on a shopping spree.
After taking more cash from the office, they sauntered out of the store, a Bluetooth speaker and cocoa butter in hand. It was already daylight, and staff showed up only minutes later to find the door open.
That's the reality of it. I mean, you look, the first time they were in and out in a minute and a half. The second time they took their time.
Roughly $10,000 worth of goods are gone, and Mounties are now on the case. Now, surveillance cameras also caught images of 2 men wearing the same clothes, watching the pastry shop earlier in the day. Clear shots, the owners believe, of Richmond's sweet tooth burglars. Sinjin Alexander, CTV News, Richmond.
And now we take a look at both your nightly and weekly weather forecast. On the north coast, tonight's weather is supposed to include rain and a low of 12, while the rest of the week transitions from rain and clouds to mixed sun and clouds, and the high moves from 13 to 18 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, their night will also see rain, but with a low at 11 degrees, and the rest of the week should start off cloudy and rainy, before getting sunnier at the end, with their high bouncing from 12 to 27 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes districts, the evening for them will get a chance of showers with their low at 11 degrees. And as for the upcoming week, they will also start off with rain before becoming sunny, with their high shifting from 20 to 29 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. Highway 16 has construction work, bridge maintenance, line painting, utility work, and road maintenance work. Highway 37 has bridge construction, roadside brushing, bridge maintenance, and crack sealing. Highway 37A is still dealing with falling rocks between west of Isiated and east of Stewart, alongside some paving operations, road sweeping, and maintenance. And the Nishka Highway has road sweeping and line painting. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come is a look at the possible future of surgeries and its potential concerns. Welcome back. For the first time ever, an AI-trained robot has performed surgery without human help. The operations were conducted on pig organs, and we want to warn you that some of the video in the next story is graphic. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on the breakthrough and ethical concerns.
We successfully completed all 8 ex vivo studies without any human intervention.
You're watching a robot perform realistic surgery without human help for the very first time.
I lost my mind. I think this was such a crazy accomplishment.
Lead study author Ji Woong Brian Kim couldn't believe it, watching the robot, called SRTH, successfully perform a gallbladder surgery on a dead pig. Built and trained with the same architecture that powers ChatGPT, SRTH watched videos of surgeons at work.
It's a model that's actually learned and actually kind of understands the surgery rather than being just pre-programmed.
While no human intervention was needed, there is a human who can override the robot if necessary.
Our goal is not to replace surgeons. We want to just make the surgery easier so that surgeons can perform more surgeries, fewer complications.
As long as the robot has the data, researchers say it should be able to perform any kind of surgery. They're already working on next steps. To get ready to operate on a live pig, this is a simulation with food coloring to imitate blood.
First thing that strikes me as an ethicist is consent.
Bioethicist Carrie Bowman says we need more data and research as AI in healthcare moves forward.
What's this going to look like for a country like Canada? Is this going to bring down wait times? Is this going to raise efficiency? It may. I'd like to keep an open mind about this.
As for when robots could perform surgeries on humans, researchers say that's still a number of years away. But experts warn AI is moving fast, and we need to be ready by answering all the difficult questions around its use. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The trend of many Canadians deciding to avoid U.S. travel continues even during the busy summer vacation season, and there's new numbers to prove it. This comes as many travel agencies say they've seen an increase in domestic bookings. CTV's Pat Ford reports.
Whether it's to visit Disney World, the Grand Canyon, or the Las Vegas Strip, more than 1 million Canadians used to travel to the U.S. every month, but not anymore. Travel companies have seen big changes in vacation plans that show many Canadians plan to explore their own country this year.
We're seeing a lot of domestic travel happen among Canadians this year.
Kayak, the travel website that compares flights, hotels, and rental cars, says there has been a 25% increase in domestic flight searches, and 55% of car rental searches are now domestic. Whether it's hiking the West Coast trails, stopping by Calgary for the Stampede, taking in the beauty of Banff or the Cabot Trail, many Canadians are deciding to take a domestic holiday this summer, and there are deals to be found.
Domestic flight prices are down about 8%, so if you're flying, good news for you. But rental cars also, so if you're staying domestic, rental cars are down about 14% this year.
Kayak says return flights to many cities in Canada can be booked within the $300 range. Many families are also expected to take road trips visiting Canadian attractions by car.
There seems to be this renewed interest in really sort of like exploring Canada and really supporting our own backyard.
Flight Center has also noticed an uptick in domestic travel interest and says bookings to the United States saw a 58% decrease in May over the same period last year. While many travelers don't want to cross the U.S. border, travel to Europe remains a favorite for many Canadians.
Overall, Europe is holding very strong. It has not slowed down at all. Our top 3 destinations for the summer are London, Paris, and Dublin.
It's unclear if these travel trends will continue, but if trade tensions remain with the U.S., they could. And travel companies say the boost of domestic travel within Canada should be good for tourism and many Canadian businesses. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Turning to a Texas family sharing their story after the Dream Bahamas vacation became a nightmare. As ABC's Stephanie Ramos explains, the dad nearly died after being run over by a boat.
This morning, a 42-year-old dad recovering in the hospital after a summer vacation horror.
And I'm about 20 feet from the shore, and suddenly I feel something hit me, and it's like I feel a thump, thump. I immediately knew that I was hit by a boat.
The Slough family from Texas had been enjoying their idyllic 10-day vacation to the Bahamas. They decided to go snorkeling, unaware that a speedboat was barreling toward them.
you wouldn't expect a boat to be that close to shore either. So I was completely caught off guard.
The boat's propeller nearly taking off Brent Slaugh's legs. The couple's 2 children also in the water, their teenage daughter grabbing a float to rescue her father. The boat seen speeding away from the scene. The former Army Ranger airlifted to the ICU in Miami and underwent emergency surgery.
I didn't know for sure what all was going on, but like it cut right underneath his bottom and his legs where it was just all open. Everything was open underneath that.
Doctors are concerned that Brent's injuries are still life-threatening, fearing the lacerations can still become infected.
I'm just so thankful to be alive.
Brent healing and getting out of ICU is our #1 priority. Then I would say is really for justice to be served for the people who did this.
And now we turn our attention to how the stock markets look today compared to yesterday. The Canadian dollar is up 5/100ths of a cent, the price of gold is up $4.70, oil is down $1.81, natural gas is up 16 cents, aluminum is down $5.50, in Toronto the TSX is up 109.98 points, the Venture Index is up 15.91, in New York the Dow Jones is up 192.34 and Nasdaq is up 19.32. Still ahead, a known Vancouver chocolate maker is doing something for the first time. Welcome back. Thanks to the Buy Canadian movement, a popular Vancouver chocolate maker is doing something it's never done before. Purdy's Chocolate is venturing outside its own stores, and as CTV's Craig Cross reports, they forged a deal with another well-known brand.
After 118 years, Vancouver-based Purdy's Chocolatier is making some changes to how customers get their products.
Today we launched with Save On Foods in 131 other locations.
Now going nose to nose with the likes of Hershey, Cadbury, and other international brands, which the local chocolatier says it could have an advantage over after the company saw a 200% increase in website traffic.
It was really since that moment earlier in the year where the Buy Canadian movement kind of came in and tariffs kind of launched a lot of that, unfortunately.
Pushing them to take this step and partner with another Canadian brand.
That's one of our core values, is supporting local. So when this partnership opportunity came around, we just couldn't pass this up.
Since January, the country has seen waves of patriotism as many Canadians are trying to avoid American products as a form of protest against Washington.
I think it's the only way we can retaliate is through making them economically pay attention.
With the current situation, I would try to buy Canadian.
As a result, both large and small businesses in BC have benefited.
About 40% of small businesses tell us that here in BC, they've noticed Canadians choosing locally made products. A similar amount also say that 40% are noticing less interest in American products.
A needed boost, but says more needs to be done to ensure this is long-lasting.
Businesses continue to tell us that tax and regulatory costs are the biggest barrier to growth, so we're calling on governments to cut red tape.
In the meantime, BC businesses such as Purdy's will look to capitalize on the growing hunger for local products as they venture out into a new market for at least the next year.
Go buy some chocolate.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's our news for now. For everyone at CFTK-TV, I'm Cale Maslin. Thanks for watching.